All right, so let's talk about cost, okay? Cost of production. On the perfect competition graph, I showed you where the average total cost hit and what profit was. Now I want to actually show you how we find all of that. So there are three different type of cost. There is your fixed cost. Fixed costs are things that you buy before you can produce. They usually help you in the production. So let's talk about pizza, okay? We're going to produce pizza. First thing we need to do before we open up a pizza restaurant is we have to sign a lease. So we have rent. We know what rent's going to be every month. That's going to be a fixed cost. We also need to buy ovens. Okay, so ovens and chairs and tables, all these things you need for your restaurant. Those are usually going to be one-time buys, or like your rent or your lease, it's going to be something you know is not going to change every month. So that's a fixed cost. A variable cost is cost that you start accumulating as you start producing more and more items. So if I want to make pizzas, I'm going to use that pizza oven, right? I'm only going to buy it once, but I'm going to start needing to buy cheese, I'm going to need to buy dough, and I'm going to need to buy tomato sauce. As I start producing more and more pizza, I'm going to have to buy more and more of those products. So as I increase production, my variable costs are going to increase. Now, when we look at our fixed and our variable costs together, that's where we get a thing called our total cost. So let's take a look here. We're using very simple numbers. Let's say we have a product, right? Before we start producing the product, we haven't produced anything, but we have a fixed cost. So our fixed cost, let's just hypothetically, let's say the pizza oven cost $100. So our fixed cost is going to be $100. Now we have no variable cost because we haven't produced anything yet. So our fixed plus our variable equals our total cost at being $100. Now, as we start producing, okay, we produce that one item, our fixed costs do not change. We paid that $100. No matter if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, that $100 is always going to stay the same. What does change is our variable cost. So when we produce nothing, we had no variable cost. When we produce one item, we have a cost of, say, $20 for supplies. We want to produce a second item, we need more supplies. It's going to cost us $35. We produce a third item, costs go up to $45, and then we produce that fourth item, and costs jump to $70. So let's add these together. At 0 items, total cost is $100. At 1 item, 100 plus 20 is $120. Producing 2 items, put these two together, you have $135. 3 items together, you have $145, and at 4 items together, you have $170. Now, costs are here, but how do we put them on a graph, right? I said on that last graph for perfect competition, we had our average total cost. Well, we do it very simple. We divide our cost by the product that we produce. So, hypothetically speaking here, we have obviously an average. We're not producing anything that's going to stay the same, right, at 100. But we produced one item, right? It's going to be $100 because we took our average cost divided by the amount that we produced. Now let's take our fixed cost, which is 100, and divide it by 2. So our average fixed cost is now dropped down to 50. Over here, 100 divided by 3 is 33.3. And then right here, 100 divided by 4 is our average fixed cost is $25. And if we were to graph it, we're also going to see a line that's going to make it on the graph, and that'll make you see if you're making a profit or not. But that's only your average fixed cost. And you do the same thing for your average variable cost and your average total cost. So what I want you guys to do is let's pause the video, and I'll give you guys time to figure all this out. All right. So you guys pause the video. I figured out over here, kind of did my little cheat sheet, but your average variable cost right here, 20 divided by 1 is 20, right? 35 divided by 2 is 17.5, right? We have it right here. Next one is 15, and then 17.5. Now, do the same thing for your average total cost. We have 120, 67.5. We're going to round up on some of these. 48.3 and 42.5. With that, you now have your averages, so you can go ahead and graph it, right? And you're going to do it on a simple supply and demand regular graph, right? You have your X and your Y axis, but we'll do it on a later video. Until later, stay safe.